guys, this is Aromie here. Welcome back to our life. We're ending step 2 to move on to step 3. There was no denying it. Today was the very last day of summer. Tomorrow you're heading to class. You're excited to go back. Anxiety gnawed at your stomach. It was a bummer. Your feelings were muddled. Anxiety. Going back to school meant handing over the autonomy you'd had over the past weeks. You had very little control over what you did at school or who you shared your class with. It was a heavy heart that you chose your outfit for your final day of freedom. Life was going to be difficult. You had to come to think of the summer vacation as a norm, but school sucked up the majority of the year, whereas the summer vacation was just a respite in the middle. So rather than it being different, it was kind of a return to the normal. What did your normal life really mean? Oh shit. You consider how fondly your moms talked about their summer vacations as kids. You dimly recognized that one year the pattern of school and summer itself would be over for good. It was hard to imagine. You gotten distracted, one arm still out of a sleeve. You pulled it through and put your mind back to the present. This season had brought about plenty of changes of its own, like Kyra's visit, though that too was coming to an end today. You're happy you'd finally gotten a chance to know her. You had been extremely fond of her. You didn't really like her. Your mind wasn't made up of how it feel. You didn't care one way or another. I think I would be extremely fond of her. The neighborhood was about to feel a lot emptier. You finished dressing, which was good. Cove would be there any moment. You would agree to see his mom off together. Officially, the plan was that he would come over to bring you around to his house when she was ready to set off. But you both knew that you'd be hanging out for at least a little while beforehand. Kyra's visit had troubled Cove when it first happened. It had been a sudden change, thanks to Mr. Holden's infamous tendency to surprise people. But once he was able to adjust, he'd been in pretty good spirits with her around. It was a relief for everyone. You turned to your desk where the box containing your accessories resided. A thought struck to you like a bolt, and your eyes bored into the box. Should you wear an anklet for Cove's visit today? Hell yes! I'm always wearing one every day. You had some nice ones that you hadn't used in a while. You put one anklet bracelet on. You decided there were several anklets you didn't wear. No, just put one. One's fine. As you threaded the hoop through the clasp, you had to wonder if Cove would spot what you'd done and how he reacted if he did. A cheeky grin grew on your face. Yes, let's butter him up because that last episode, woo, your girl was fucked up. The next thought that crossed your mind was, it would only be polite to get the door for Cove. You went downstairs to wait. You couldn't wait to see Cove, so you went downstairs to meet him when he arrived. Cove knew your house well enough. You couldn't wait to see him. You bounded down the stairs, your hand gliding over the rail. You wanted to make sure you got there first. If you didn't hurry, your moms might answer it. It was only a few minutes later when the doorbell rang. As you'd chosen to stand up beside it to wait for Cove, there was no delay in pulling it open. Cove was there, just as he expected. Seeing you, he flashed you a bright grin.
Hey.
Oh. Hi, Michiko. Hi, Cove. Come on in. Once you step inside, you beckoned for him to follow you upstairs. Why are we going upstairs? Back up in your room, you sat down in your bed and waited for Cove to settle in as you knew he would. With other guests, you might have offered them a seat, but you and Cove were long past those tentative stages of friendship. Your room was as familiar to him as his own. You watched as Cove sat down in your desk chair, his preferred spot. He rolled it closer to the bed to make it easier to chat, tweaking the angle so that he was facing you fully. Once happy with the position, he leaned in towards you, hands held in his lap. His actions weren't the ones of someone who planned on moving from his spot anytime soon, even though you had an appointment to keep together that day. When is your mom leaving?
Don't worry about it.
We've got some time. She's still got a shower and stuff before she goes. She didn't want me to just keep hanging around while she was doing that. He lifted his head, his gaze drifting out through the window, and chuckled. I can't believe she's already leaving, just when I'm getting used to her being there every day. He leaned back in the chair, a wry smile tickling his cheeks. No, she'll be back. Time goes by so fast. She'll be back. He cocked his head thoughtfully before shrugging. He ran a hand through his hair before shaking his head, as if shaking off the topic like a dog whipping off water following a dip in the sea. Cove looked back at you, his lips parted as if he was about to speak, but instead his eyes widened and his mouth closed into a tiny frown. Something had caught his attention. Something wrapped around where the end of your leg met your foot. Well, why? I mean, I guess he was already looking down, so he saw her foot, and he's like, oh shit. She wore an anklet? He cast his eyes back to your face, then down to your ankle, and back to your face. He repeated the process once, twice more, as if struggling to hold the two items in tandem. Maybe he was weighing up whether this could be a coincidence or not. Or maybe he was just too shy to verbalize his thoughts, or was still trying to find the words, and this was the most he could manage. The tension made you feel bashful, amused, thrilled, regretful, pleased. Amused. It was hard not to laugh at Cove's scrambled response. You stifled your laughter with a hand clasped firmly around your mouth. Even so, you could feel the way the smile had lifted your face. On his next glance back to your face, Cove's expression had shifted. You watched as his bewilderment rode into mortification as he realized that he had been caught staring. Cove! It's not that hard for me not to catch you doing that! He quickly spun in the chair to face the wall instead, allowing you to glimpse the flesh that had spread all the way to his ears. His embarrassment finally wore off enough for him to pipe up again. I hope you're not doing that to make fun of me. What do you mean? Sorry, it's not about you. You kept your mouth shut. What do you mean? You know, about what I said before on the road trip. Yeah, that's still my favorite story because he looks so good in that one. What did you say before? Cove groaned, tilting his head up to the ceiling. He had not bought your act. Why do I ever tell you things? Yeah, you left the topic there. How does it look? Now I understand why he never takes me fucking seriously, because I always go for these choices. I don't care. As I said earlier, like prior in whatever episode, that I'm gonna tone down the goof. No, I can't. How does it look? You lifted your leg up and pointed it towards his chair so you could get the best view. What the fuck? Cove just huffed in response. He jerked his face to the side. You waited patiently, not taking your eyes off him or lowering your foot until he gave in. At least I'm not like pressing it down on his thigh and like, bitch, look. Well, with a roll of an eye, he conceded.
It's nice.
I think it looks good. Cove prodded an accusing finger in your direction. But you already knew that because I told you. I mean, anybody can wear anklets, but you know, you don't have to say that everyone who wears it looks pretty in it, right? His comment drew a grin from you. He smiled back. The final shadows of his frantic initial reaction swept aside. Cove perched an elbow on the chair's arm and propped his jaw against his curled hand. There was a natural ease to his movements, a familiarity from the echoes of all the times before when he'd sat in that same position. This was a really nice summer. Totally, it was alright. I'm glad we got to spend so much time together. I've had better. I'm looking forward to the next, your agreement. I'm glad we got to spend so much time together. Cove still nestled cozily in your chair, smiled at your response. How are your fish doing? Really good. Things in the tank are stable and everybody looks healthy. That was nice to hear. You'd learned from Cove how hard it was to maintain an aquarium. Sunshine has been busy. Keeps starting between the plants and out again when I walk by, like a game of peekaboo. Or hide and seek. Yeah. Cove idly forgot to name my fish that. I was like, what did I name my fish? Idly glanced out the window. He gave a resigned sigh. It's gonna be harder to surf. With school, it's getting colder out. I don't want to get rusty. I don't know how I'm gonna go on without surfing. I like surfing, but I wish it liked me. That's like me doing skincare, but my skin don't care. I'm over surfing now. Surfing's cool when we can. Sorry, Cove. I'm gonna say I like surfing, but I wish it liked me. I can't stick to the board. He gave a light smile coupled with a shrug as response. Won't be long until we get our grades for that summer work we did. Cove's wings fluttered as he huffed, sinking in the chair. I'm not looking forward to that. I'll be alright. Cove looked at you, eyes bright. Things will work out. I know it. Do you think we'll see Miranda around school this year? Why, are you interested? I'm joking. Probably. She could be in one of our classes again. We hope that you see her often. It would be nice to see her again. You weren't interested in seeing her around. It didn't really matter to you. I mean, I don't care. I don't care. It didn't really matter to me. Chico, Cove. A sudden call from downstairs caught you both unaware. You had nearly forgotten the world outside your room. From the guilty look on his face, Cove had done the same. Just had a call. Cove's mom's ready to go. If you're quick, she might keep a mandated motherly smothering to a minimum. You doubted that, but it was nice that Mom and Miss Priest had their strange sense of humor in common. Your eyes met Cove's. Wordlessly, you headed downstairs together. Each step on the way there was painfully slow, like he was trying to delay the inevitable. His whole body tense leaving the house, and Cove froze all together before you both could cross the street.
Oh.
The door's open. Dad must be taking her stuff out. He swallowed hard. He was really gonna leave. smiled and reassuringly gave his back a pat. You rested your hand on his arm. This isn't the last time you ever see her. No, it's just comfort, you know. Cove looked at you like he was hoping he had a solution for how he was feeling, and all you could do was give his arm a squeeze for support. At that, some of the conflict warring on his face eased a bit. Together, you went across the street and inside his house, finding his parents in the living room surrounded by his mom's packed things. Hey kids! Good timing, I just called the taxi.
Hi.
And hi Michiko, so glad I get to see you today. It was fabulous getting to know you this summer. I finally got to put a face to the name I've heard so many times. She winked and Cove pouted on cue or teasing. I'm really happy I got to meet you too. I hope you had a good time visiting. Bye. You didn't say anything in response. No, what the fuck? I'm really happy I got to meet you too. Hopefully it won't be too long before we see each other again. Nodding, Kyra turned her attention back to her boys. She patted Cliff on the arm with a warm smile, and then she enveloped Cove in a crushing hug. Initially, Cove squirmed to break free from her grip, but his mom was unfazed and kept him locked in place. Heartbeats later. Okay. He came in and hugged her back tightly.
I'm so glad.
I'm so happy this trip was a success. Cliff looked like he was bursting with pride. Well, not 100% success, but still a passing grade, I think. Thinking back on everything that happened this summer, he started to look sheepish. Cliff scratched the side of his head, and an awkward chuckle escaped Cove. There were ways it could have gone smoother. I'm still keeping that in mind for the future.
Alright.
Good for you, Cliff. And I'll be trying harder to stay more in the loop. He watched his Cove smiled softly at both his parents, and he felt relieved seeing how much the whole family had come together since he first met them. Despite any underlying troubles, love was still there. After that, it wasn't long before the taxi arrived, rolling up in the front of the house in a clear view of the open door. Kyra stood up, smiling sadly. Well, that's my ride. Yeah. The matching reply got a chuckle out of Kyra as she filed out of the house. Father and son went with Kyra's bags in hand. Once outside, you spotted your family waiting by the street, and to your surprise, Derek was also with them. Okay, his name is Derek. Because I was like, damn, what is that guy's name? He stood uncomfortably, and he waved as soon as you noticed him.
What's up?
Hey, Michiko. Hi, Cove. When did you get here? My dad dropped me off just a little bit ago, though I could visit one more time before school started.
Sorry.
You picked a busy time. Sorry. Derek couldn't even look at Cove. He nervously kept rolling a pebble at the bottom of his shoe. Damn.
Sorry.
I wasn't even thinking that your mom would be leaving today. I'm sorry, dude. What? You're not interrupting anything. You're always welcome here. It would have been sad if I didn't get to say goodbye before leaving. I think so too. It was apparent Derek would have preferred to have gone there at a more opportune moment. He never liked seeming impolite, but their reassuring words soothed his worries. Oh, he's such a gentleman. The tension he was holding in his body lessened, and he looked like he was feeling much more like himself. Bye, Derek. It was fun getting to know you. Bye, ma'am. Is there anything I could do to help? Oh.
Nah.
Don't worry yourself over that. We're just about to set. In that short amount of time, Cliff had gathered and packed the bags into the trunk. Kyra took one last look at everyone inside. Alright, I don't want to keep the driver waiting. It's time to head out. The little crowd that had formed around started their chorus of farewells and well wishes traveling. But Kyra still made no move to get to the taxi. She placed her attention on Cove. I'll call when I get to the airport and when I make it to Nevada. Also, you better call the moment you walk in the door of your home. Otherwise, we'll be wondering all night if you got into trouble on the way there.
Can do.
I can do that. And could you call tomorrow too, so I can tell you how school went? Of course, I want to hear all about it. Kyra put a hand on Cove's head and affectionately ruffled his hair one last time. She then let go, only to move on to squeezing his cheeks in her hands instead. Mom!
Cove.
I love you so much, baby. She was chuckling by the time she freed him and rounded things off with a small tap to the tip of his nose. Cove rubbed at his face with a grin. Finally, she walked to the car while waving and took her seat in the taxi. Cliff hooked an arm around Cove's shoulder and kept him close as it began to pull away. For a moment, Cove looked up at his dad and then wrapped an arm around his back.
Bye.
Bye, Mom. Bye. Travel safe. I thought Cove was about to hug his dad and cry. Kyra rolled down the window and stuck her head out of it. She waved again while blowing kisses at Cove and Cliff. See you again. Before she was out of sight, you decided to call out with your family and hers. Wait, what? What do you mean? Like, say bye? I guess call out. As you added your voice to the others, you watched Kyra's smile grow larger. The cab turned down another road and completely disappeared from view. Cove let go of his dad and took a few steps out into the empty street, still looking in the direction his mom went. He smiled quietly, deep in thought. You got the impression Cove was feeling better than he was earlier. He was finally content with the way things were. Oh, so he's not gonna cry. I would've cried. The summer breeze brought a sweet-sounding jingle across the way. It was the wind chime you had given. Wait, what? The wind chime you had given Cove. He had hung it at the front of his house, and it became a very familiar sound in his neighborhood. You jumped a bit when your mom put a hand on your shoulder, pulling you away from your thoughts. She smiled when you looked at her. This was a great vacation, huh? Yeah, I don't think so. You know, I agree when you shrug. I don't know. Summer isn't over until the second I fall asleep. We're gonna say yeah. That's what I was hoping to hear. Cole walked back over to the group, so genuinely happy. Derek grinned at him welcomingly, and everyone else there smiled at him, even Elizabeth.
Well?
Mom clapped her hands together, bringing everyone's attention back to the present. It's almost lunchtime. I think I'll put something special together. Her eyes sparkled with a plan, and Mom smiled. And this is where we're actually going to end today's episode off, because, you know, this isn't DLC, so I don't have to, like, keep it all together. But I feel like in the next episode, which is next week, we will actually step into step 3. Anywho, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful. I hope you guys are going to be excited, because there's going to be new faces in step 3, I believe, because we still haven't met Baxter, I think is his name, which will be a potential lover in the future. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.